Sherry. Hello and welcome to our webinar today. We are delighted to have you join us as we talk about the Developmental Reading Assessment, or the DRA3, and share some exciting updates and talk about the release of the third edition. So this is what is on our agenda today. What is the DRA, the benefits, what's new, reading assessment process, professional learning, learn more about DRA3, and as Sherry mentioned, we will leave some time for questions at the end, so feel free to submit questions via the chat box at any time, and we'll do our best to address those as the presentation goes on. So what exactly is the DRA3? Well, it is a kindergarten through 8th grade classroom assessment, mainly used by literacy teachers, and the great thing about this is that this brings 3 decades of teacher expertise, and I will discuss the authors as we go on to the next slide, but what's great about this is that this really comes from the teacher perspective, and this also promotes good reading behaviors. These are our authors, Joetta Beaver and Dr. Mark Carter. They co-authored the DRA in the late 1980s, and they identified a need to help students who are at risk. They developed the DRA with the goal of helping teachers become connoisseurs of reading. And as an educator myself, that's what you want. You want your students to love reading. So some of the benefits of the DRA. It is a one-to-one assessment to observe and document. And personally, I think it is extremely necessary to hear the student read individually because you want to be able to hear their strengths and weaknesses. You want to establish the student's independent and/or instructional reading level, and you want to identify each student's instructional needs. So the benefits of data-driven instruction. I personally love data because you want to see exactly where the student is at. So the first step is the assessment. That is our starting point, and it's our first core principle of data-driven instruction. As you plan your lessons, you're going to use the student data that you received from the DRA3. You're going to conduct a deep data analysis, and you're going to utilize our data reports, which I will talk more about later, to lay the foundation of effective action. So what is included in the DRA3? So here you can see a layout of the kits. We have kindergarten to 3rd grade and 4th through 8th grade. And I'll just briefly go over what is included in the kindergarten through 3rd grade kit. You have your benchmark assessment books, your routine cards, your teacher assessment guide. The Blackline Masters pretty much is an outline of all the assessments where you can make copies for your students, your direction cards, your level estimator, your assessment folders, your hanging file folders, word analysis teacher guide, the student assessment book for word analysis, and the progress monitoring assessment teacher guide. So here we have book options. And one amazing thing that they updated from the DRA2 to the DRA3 is that we have more new nonfiction and fiction books. We have over 100 benchmark assessment books, and the kindergarten through 3 kit includes 74 titles, and the 4th through 8th grade kit includes 32 total titles with the intermediate bridge level for 20 to 38. So the intermediate bridge level consists of, say you have a student come in from another part of the district, or say they are brand new to the district, and you have an idea of where they're at, and say maybe they are currently at a 38. And here you won't have to go to the kindergarten through 3rd grade kit. You'll be able to use the bridge level kit, and you'll be able to pull that 38 from this and utilize it with the student. Benchmark book here is an example of Gardens Are Great. And you can see how you have the text and you can have the pictures. And here we have Home at Last, and this is another one of our books in the kit. For the reading stages guide, here you can see a breakdown of the different stages where it begins with emergent at the kindergarten level, level A, all the way up through middle school, 8th grade, and it ends at DRA level 80, excuse me. The level estimator, this goes with the idea of saying you have someone brand new into the district or someone who transferred into your school from another city or state. Instead of giving them the full assessment, you're going to conduct the level estimator. And here you will time the student, you will have them read the words, and then once there's X amount incorrect, that's where you know the level to begin with. So I think this is fantastic. Instead of having to do an entire assessment, you have the level estimator, which will save plenty of precious time. Streamlined record forms. So here you can see an example of what the record form looks like. It's broken down into performance summary, focus for instruction, and the continuum. And the focus for instruction and continuum will be used during your data analysis to figure out where you're going to create your lesson plans from. In your digital platform, we have a wonderful new digital platform that includes, you can do your data entry and administration. So you're able to actually record the student as they're reading to you. So say after you're finished conducting the assessment, you're going to go back, you're going to listen, and you can hear to see if you missed any mistakes that the students did. It offers more reporting options, and it's an easy way to capture your student data. And what's great is that the teacher can see it from their classroom level, and the administration can see it at the school level. So here's an example of the teacher class list. This is what the teacher would see. On the left, it would have the student ID information, name, grade, date, the level. And then what's nice is that the date, it'll tell you which season of the year that this was conducted. And then it breaks down the score for you as you go along the screen. And what's nice is you can pause the assessment. So you can see under spring performance for the first student, it shows resume. So you can pause and then you can continue. Say for instance, because sometimes students will be a little nervous and they'll just be rushing through. So you can pause and you can have them stop and you can have them restart again. Student action plan. So here this gives a detailed plan of the student's performance summary. So it tells the student where they should be at that current time, if they have or have not met the target, what their independent level is, and their engagement level, and any type of recommendations. And then the teacher can put in notes on the side. Another breakdown of the student action plan. So it shows the different subtests and their performance. Third part of the student action plan talks about the different steps. So you have where you want to focus as a teacher. So for instance, here with oral reading fluency, for this particular level, the teacher selected monitor using one-to-one correspondence. And then you can choose what you want to focus on during, say, your small group or whole group instruction. Next are the reports that are offered. So here you have class roster, student action plan, student assessment history, parent report, student performance over time, which is fantastic for longitudinal data, class skills summary. That one is fantastic for whole group. Say you want to take a look at the entire class to see where are your strengths, where are your weaknesses. So you're going to take a look at your weaknesses, see if there's a trend across the whole classroom. There you're going to pull that particular skill and you're going to focus on that skill in your instruction. And then for the administration level, you can see school district benchmark scoring report and school district data across seasons and across years, which is excellent for the longitudinal data. Now I'm going to go into the reading assessment process. So first is the benchmark assessment. So step one, you are going to select each student's level for assessment. What's great about the folders that you get, you can see the history of the student as they are promoted to each grade. So for the first one, you'll take a look and see where the student fell the previous year, and whatever the last assessment was, you're going to have the student take the next level if they didn't pass. If you're going to take their instructional level and you're going to assess them at that instructional level first. Then you're going to go into the oral reading. You're going to hear their oral reading fluency. So the student will have the book in front of them. The student will have their test booklet. You'll have your portion. So you'll see on the right side, that's what you will be looking at. And then you will be annotating that form while the student reads. And then step 3 is the printed language concepts or comprehension. So here's an example of the student booklet. This is the part that they would fill out about story elements, prediction, summary, etc. And then step 4 is the teacher analysis. So this is the part where the teacher dives in. And this is when they're scoring. And then you're going to take this right here and use it for your small group and your whole group. Here's where you can form your small group instruction. You can form your whole group, like I said before, and pull all that data from there. And then here's an optional step. This used to be a required first step in DRA2, but now this is optional for DRA3. And what I love about this is that I would give this, especially in the beginning of the school year. You don't know your students yet. So here you're going to learn what their reading habits are, what they're like at home, what their interests are. And this is a great way for me to get to know them, because some students will come up to you and say, I don't know what to read. Well, here we go. I'll take a look at this. I'll go through it with them, and then I'll take them over to either the classroom library or their school library, and we'll pick out a book together. Progress monitoring. So here, this breaks down the various steps of progress monitoring, which is fantastic because you as the teacher don't have to come up with the intervention on your own. You have it right there in the box according to that particular skill. So here, this one focuses, here you have the oral reading fluency. So that's step 1. And the passage on the left. Here on step 2, you're going to monitor the comprehension. So it's scripted, so it tells you exactly what to say. Step 3 is where you really go in depth with the progress monitoring. So it breaks down what you need to say. So here we talk about sequence, and then vocabulary, multiple meaning words, and then word reading. And step 4 is when you are going to move into instruction. It provides a suggested skill instruction list so you can see where the student landed. And then, so for instance, you have rate, you have if a student scores fewer than 75 words per minute on this passage, and then it gives you the then. So there's no figuring out what to do. It's right there for you in accordance with that particular skill. Next is the word analysis. Step 1 is you're going to assess the word analysis skill and strategy. So it provides you the task, and it's 40-word analysis task, and it gives you the instructions and scoring guidelines. So here's an example. Step 2, it gives you some task-specific activities for you to focus on when you are working on that particular skill. So here, for instance, is the example, distinguishing pictured rhyming words. Gives you the whole entire lesson right there. So there, again, there's no guessing. It gives you everything that you need at your fingertips. And finally, professional learning. So we have on-demand learning modules that live in the digital platform. And we also have paid professional development, which I highly recommend. You want to be able to implement this assessment with fidelity. So if this is something brand new to your district or your school, I suggest that you would purchase the professional development that we could provide to you virtually during COVID, or when you are comfortable, we can have a trainer come to your school and do the professional development for you. And finally, we are at the end. So I know I spoke a bit quickly, but if you have any questions, I can go into the platform and see if we have time for any. Okay, so we have, can we assess the word analysis tasks online? Yes, you are able to conduct that online. And with most assessments being online for students, is there an option for those student booklets to be done online? So we do have digital assessment books that I did not mention earlier, and I'm thankful that you asked this question. We now have digital assessment books where each teacher would receive a key, and then they would be able to share their screen, and then the student would be able to read on their end for remote learning. Okay, that is all I can see on my end. So thank you so much for coming and joining our webinar today. Please let me know if you have any questions. You can contact or visit us at pearsonassessments.com/DRA3 or call that phone number, 800-328-5999. Or if you have any more questions, you can put them into the chat and we can answer at a later time. Thank you.